And I just want to rewind a bit to when you said you went into a lab and you're like, oh my God, this isn't what I want to do. What would you recommend to people who might be in uni kind of going, crap, this isn't what I want to do? Would you say, you know, often they might get into first year and it's like, just stick it out for first year, it gets better? Or it's like, or do you jump ship early while you're only 10 grand in debt instead of 20 or 30? Like, what would you recommend to people who are currently feeling that sort of anxiety?
Yeah, it's so common. One thing I would recommend is read the book Status Anxiety by Alain de Botton. Really fantastic book. In it, he talks about that anxiety that we feel, or that angst that we feel sometimes. I think one of the big challenges with being young and having all of these opportunities in front of you is that we almost get that like, well, what should I do? Right,
because it used to be you get a careers book and you choose your career.
And that's it.
And now 65%, according to like a government statistic, they predict that 65% of people coming out of school are going to be working a job that doesn't exist.
Yeah.
How do you study for a job that doesn't exist? Or
That's
how do you,
right.
in my opinion, I think we should be learning soft skills like leadership, communications, anything that you can't learn from like math, like a book, because, you know, if you learn advanced maths and you're in a creative industry or your job has nothing to do with advanced maths, it doesn't really transfer over. Probably does a little bit, but not, you know, that efficiently. So, but there's leadership, communication, a bunch of other soft skills like that, they can be used in any degree in anything. So it kind of prepares us for kind of whatever life throws at us.
Yeah, I think the job of the education system really should be just to teach us how to learn. I think the content is, a lot of it's irrelevant, like you say.
It's
right?
irrelevant. And, you know, something I realized recently was, you know, back when school, or back, let's say 1950s, they're creating an education system. They're going, oh, we need a place for people to go to learn information.
Yeah.
But now we live in a world full of information. We can learn it wherever we want. We need
That's
to
right.
learn skills that we can't just learn over a computer or learn from someone, but actually learn by doing and, you know, implementing. Because, I mean, really you can learn maths over a computer if you want, because it's just formulas, versus leadership and and like public speaking. You can't just learn public speaking by studying it. You need to get out there and do it. Otherwise you're never going to improve.
Yeah, I completely agree. Like, I think the soft skills are a lot more important. I actually hate that they're called soft skills. I was talking to...
So it sounds almost like they're weaker.
It does, right?
Yeah.
So I was talking to UNSW, which is my alma mater. I was talking to a few people there, and we were talking about a course that they were looking at putting together, and they were saying, like, what do you think about soft skills and calling them soft skills? And I was like, guys, like, that's really bad branding, actually.
As a brander?
Yeah, like it's sort of like all these associations we have with something being soft. You know, it's they're very hard skills to develop, and like you say, it's sort of about also putting things into action as well. So yeah, you can theoretically learn about, I like the public speaking example, you can theoretically learn how to be a public speaker, but actually going out and doing it is a very different thing. I think there's a lot of problems with how we're being taught. I do think that there are some useful frameworks that we learn at school and university, but if you're going to university in order to get a job, I think that's not the point of it.
Yeah.
I think it's
to
not...
get a specific job.
I see people now who did a vocational degree and they're really struggling a lot of the time. So marketing is actually a really good example of that. What people were learning in marketing at uni 10 years ago is not really that applicable to what's actually going on in marketing now.
Yeah, or even now, from what I hear from friends who are doing marketing, because I'm a marketer, like that's my business, and I like do landing pages, Facebook ads, that's all marketing to me. But they'll talk about they're learning this sort of stuff, and I'm like, is that relevant? Like, the marketing concepts are good because concepts stay the same. Doesn't really matter what platform, you know, whether it's in 10 years and Facebook doesn't exist, the concept of like different marketing techniques is always the same. So they're good to learn, but they learn such irrelevant stuff. And it's the same with a lot of degrees.
Yeah, I tend to agree with you. I mean, I don't want to be too hard on
universities
because I get the struggle with trying to take people to a certain level in different degrees, but I do think that, well, there's a few problems. Like, one, we also aren't very good at dealing with things like, well, how do you mentioned communication before, right? So being able to speak good English, being able to communicate on email, being able to look professional and present yourself in a professional way. We never talked about that at uni, you know, and is it
How
university?
to network.
Yeah, well,
Like,
yeah.
how important is that?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, they do have things like, university clubs, and I'm sure people listening to this know that there's ways that you can network at uni.
But you have to be proactive.
You have to be proactive. You have to have time. And a lot of the time when you're trying to take a full course load on as well and thinking that I need to get HDs or distinctions in order to...
It's like, what's more important, building my network, which is going to do not much now, or getting a high distinction to get into the course or the master, or, to get into the specialty that I want to do.
Yeah.
Like, you want to say specialty or getting higher marks. But long term, having a network is really powerful.
It's super powerful. And I think also what happens a lot, what I saw at my university, I went to a university that was quite close to my high school. And I saw people that went to my high school really staying in their high school group. Where for me, I was like, I'd gone to an all-girls school. So I was like, oh my goodness, like there's all these people and diversity, and it's not just girls. And there's nothing wrong with girls, but it was just nice to have a bit more diversity,
yeah,
right?
Of course.
And so for me, I wanted to branch out and meet as many people as I could. I think a lot of people actually tend to meet the same types of people. They tend to hang out in the same types of networks.
It's easier to approach people if you've got a mutual, or if, you have common interest, which is great, but, you need to get out of that discomfort zone.
100%. And I think that that's the massive opportunity that university provides in a lot of ways, is being able to meet all these different people and being able to also study lots of different things and appreciate different perspectives. But a vocational degree where you're trying to use it to get a job, I actually think, I don't know, for me, that's not what worked for me. Like, it wasn't about the vocation. I think it was part of, I say to a lot of people, I'm like, I got a better education from being a medical receptionist at the time while I was going through uni, because I met so many different types of people that way. It made me appreciate also how privileged I was, because I was dealing with people who couldn't speak English, who couldn't read, who had just been out of prison, lots of different types of people, right? Which I just hadn't been exposed to before.